If you are enjoying this podcast and other podcasts on the Dragon Wagon Radio Network, be sure to check out the Dragon Wagon Shop. Awesome t-shirts and mugs from your favorite shows so you can tout your podcast pride, all while supporting your favorite indie podcast network. And make sure to check it often for new items and limited time designs. So shop now at dragonwagonshop.com and get your dragon swag on.
In a mythical land of magic beasts and blades known as Burbank, California, an independent podcast network sets off for the greatest adventure of their pitiful lives. This is Dungeons and Dragon Wagon.
And welcome to Dungeons and Dragon Wagon, the Rhyme or Reason, a D&D inspired homebrew role-playing game recorded and released out into the world for your entertainment. And you know what? We want you to listen to the show however you like to do it, but it is certainly best in headphones. So if you have the opportunity, throw on some nice cans. Yeah, that's what they call it in the biz, cans. Throw in some cans. You'll get the best possible D&DW experience. My name is Jake Lloyd. I am an actor, filmmaker, host of podcasts like Elaborate and What the Heckonomics. Find me on Twitter at Liquid Jake, on Instagram at Jake Lloyd, and I am playing the half-orcan fighter named Junk. Say hi, Junk.
Hey, how's it going, Jake?
It's going pretty good. How are things your way?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. You know, I have a whole new purpose in life to reunite the divided halves of a old ancient goddess, so that's pretty good.
Great to hear it, buddy. Of course, I am not here alone. I am here with my acquaintances in adventure. To my left, she is a writer, a poet, and friend to the animals. Find her on Twitter and Instagram at Alexandra Hoy. It's Alexandra Hoy.
Hello.
How are you? You did that thing again where I say your name and you come in like at like a 5, and I need you to come in hard.
Hello.
There she is. I feel like that's the second time we've done that now. But like reoccurring bits on the show. That's what we do.
Yeah.
How are you feeling today?
Great.
It's very rainy here.
It's rainy. It's cozy.
The Dragon's Den in Burbank.
Mm-hmm.
She, of course, is playing the noble human ranger Adeline. Say hi, Adeline.
Hello.
How are you feeling today, Adeline?
You know, I'm feeling good. I'm a little cold. It's been really freezing where we are, and yeah, you know, our guide's gone, so little concerning.
Well, I think that soon you'll find warmth and guidance.
I hope.
And to her left, he is a writer and a filmmaker, the man with no foe. He is as tall as he is a fan of terrible puns. Find him on Twitter at Matt_Hinkstman and on Instagram at mhinksman. It's Matt Hinkstman.
Hello, no such thing as a terrible pun.
Agreed.
That's fair. I guess I meant like in the ethos. It's like, oh, I'm a fan of bad puns. Like you like it.
There are no terrible puns, and they're all terrible simultaneously.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
I feel like that's your Twitter. Your Twitter is mostly just terrible puns.
Mostly.
It's also just mostly terrible. And of course, Matt is playing the Shadow Elf Rogue Matson. Say hi, Matson.
Hi.
Okay, great. That's exactly the kind of energy that I like out of Matson. And to his left, we have our second to last guest of Quest. You might know him as the creator and purveyor of the role-playing channel and collective that is Saving Throw. Find him on Twitter at Gadzook and on Instagram at GadzookFilms, Dom Zook.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I feel like we've, at this point, entwined with some of the Saving Throw, what do you call them, alumni?
Sure.
There's been so many of them on the show.
The Saving Throw player characters.
Oh, is that what you call them? The player? I like that.
I just started that.
That's
just now.
It'll stick.
Yeah.
I can tell it's going to stick. We've had Gina DeVivo on the show.
Perfect.
Our last guest of Quest was Havana Mahoney.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and hopefully, you know, once we step into whatever our next campaign is, we'll poach more of you fantastic players.
Absolutely, please.
Tell us a little bit about your background with D&D and specifically Saving Throw.
I started playing D&D way back in 1986. And
how is that possible? It seems like you were born 3 years after that.
No, I'm much older than you think I am.
Oh, all right then.
Yeah, I've been playing for a long time. I had a bit of a break through college, and then I picked it back up again. And we wanted to. We were playing second edition D&D. Mm-hmm. And with a little home group, and we wanted to teach people how to play second edition D&D. And then someone was like, "Why?" And I was like, that's kind of a good point. Let's do Pathfinder. So we started teaching people how to play Pathfinder. And then it grew into live streaming on Twitch. And now we play D&D and
it's an empire.
All sorts of things.
We've got podcasts and the Twitch channel, YouTube channel, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Barky's Brigade personally.
Oh, the classic. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan
the
of
original.
Barky's Brigade. And if any luck here, we might get Barky in that seat sometime soon.
Yeah.
And it is at this point time to hand the reins off to our fearless leader. He is the god and creator of these lands. He is a writer, sketch comedian, and host of Myth Understood. Follow him on Instagram at the Paul Bianchi. It's Paul Bianchi.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a confession.
You just said I.
I have a confession to make. I've never played Pathfinder, but I have always wanted to play Pathfinder. My understanding
Get
of
out.
it is
I
that
also
Wait,
have
we're
never
not
played-
playing Pathfinder?
I've also never played Pathfinder.
my understanding of it, and you're going to tell me that I'm wrong, but I always think of it as like regular D&D as being Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, and Pathfinder is more like, do you remember that game Bushido Blade?
Oh, yeah.
Where like there weren't health bars. It was
One-hit
just
kill.
like, yeah, it could be a one-hit kill. You could damage someone's arm, but it was attempting to be a more realistic fighting game.
Simulator.
Is that accurate
No.
assessment? No. Okay. I am wow, I've heard wrong.
Yeah, I don't know who stirred you wrong, but...
Probably the same
yeah.
person who taught me about armor class.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that. But, yeah.
Well, with that, we are getting ready to jump back into Rymore. I hope everyone's ready for chapter 9.1, Where Shadow Meets Sand.
Ooh.
And away we go. The road to Jorn is a well-traversed carriage path, and if the path by foot isn't quick enough, Eastern missionaries of the Divine Ordinance offer a free ferry service from Skal to Jorn, provided travelers listen to their sermons along the way. Were Matson, Junk, and Adeline local to Rymore, they might have known this. They would have journeyed backwards through the Narrows from Rasa's Sanctum, regrouped with their elf cork raft, and taken the Sansi River to its delta. However, without Ornie or even Scampersand to advise them, the party opted to orient themselves by Path of the Sun and traveled generally south-southwest. Through rough, untraversed terrain, encounters with frost spiders, increasingly abysmal weather, and lapses of self-doubt, it took a week to reach the coast and to spy the stone walls of Jorn built right into the seaside cliffs. It's early evening. Absolutely fatigued, hungry, and frozen, the three of you wander into the first inn you can find, a salty public house called the Nosy Narwhal. It's nearly vacant.
Junk is shivering.
I don't know about you guys, but I could use a warm ale right about now.
This looks like good a place as any.
Adeline's gonna shake the cold off, and she wants to take a look around. So I'm gonna roll for perception. 13.
Directly ahead, you notice that there are 3 large banquet tables. To your left is a short stage where an elderly dwarven woman lazily plays a cello in a wooden chair. She's so weak, you can barely hear her play. She barely has the strength to push the bow against the strings very loud. In the back corner, there is a bar kept by a bald dwarven man with a golden beard. Aside from kegs of ale, cooking equipment gives you the impression that there is food to be had. In the back right corner, stairs lead up to rooms available for rent, and further right, a couple booths flank a roaring stone fireplace.
Oh, fire, thank goodness. Adeline runs over and starts warming her hands on it.
Junk follows and takes off his wolf pelt and holds it up to it and attempts to warm it and dry it.
When you run over to the fire, which is slightly around the corner, you see that in the booth that is facing away, there are 2 gentlemen sitting in a corner booth. One of them is a shadow elf, and another one is a curious human man.
Junk, do you see that shadow elf over there? I
Oh,
feel like
Matson? Yeah, he came in with us.
No, Junk, over in the booth.
Oh, yeah, look at him.
I feel like I've never seen another shadow elf besides Matson.
Well, no, not in Rymore.
Adeline waves her hand to flag Matson over to the fire.
Matson sees her waving and he kind of just like waves her off like, yeah, I'm gonna get a drink.
If Matson's walking over to the bar, he'll find the barkeep, Bergarth, standing there. Oh, what can I get you?
What do you have that's hot and strong?
What you want is Blut beer.
I'll have one of those. I want you to give me 3.
All right. That'll be 3 gold.
Here you go.
Burgarth then pulls the tap handle on a metal keg, heated from beneath with hot stones. Steaming dark reddish-brown liquid fills 3 mugs, and he hands them off to you.
Thanks very much. I grab them and I start walking over to Adeline.
Hey now, Matson, what do you got there?
One for everybody.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Matson.
The Junk grabs it and he's about to do that thing that he usually does where he just chugs it immediately, but then he senses how hot it is and almost comically so puts his pinky up and just sips it.
It's got a coppery metallic taste.
I think there's blood in this.
Junk is correct.
It's delicious.
Matson, did you see that there's a shadow elf over there in that booth?
I want to roll to see if, upon a very quick glance, if I recognize this shadow elf.
Sure.
15.
Matson indeed recognizes the shadow elf at the table. He's slender with ash-colored skin and pricked ears like Matson, yet his eyes are gold where Matson's are red, and his hair is long and stark white and clean-shaven on one side. He dresses elegantly in gold and black and red and carries with him a long steel dao katana. Matson knows this weapon has a name. It's Exequi, and it has a reputation of being feared on the battlefield. The man himself is Vorens Black, of the powerful Black family in Morganfall. Vorens is a spy master for the Empire. Matson is unfamiliar with the man seated beside him, but recognizes him as desert folk in both dress and appearance.
Matson looks over and sees and drops his drink.
Oh, you just dropped your drink, Matson. You gotta be more careful. You know, you're very clumsy. Out of everybody here, I have to say, you're consistently the most clumsy.
Adeline shoots Junk a look. Stop.
Ignoring the mess I made on the floor, I turn to Adeline and say, we have to go now.
Why? What's the matter? I'm sure that they don't mind. They'll clean it up. It's not that big of a deal.
No, we can't stay here. This place is no good. We have to find somewhere else to go.
But what are you doing? And
Junk grabs Matson as he's about to walk away.
what's the matter? Wait, do you know this person?
Of course I know him.
Matson, can you give us a little more? Who is this person?
He's extremely well known among my people, and he'll obviously know who I am.
I mean, are we in some kind of danger?
Yeah, why does it matter if he knows you?
I mean, I was on that refugee ship for a reason. I'm a fugitive from my own people.
Junk steps close to Matson.
What did you do?
Well, so you know I was an officer in the military.
Right.
And I believed in what we were doing. And my men and I were given a very specific mission. We were tasked with retrieving a child of our own who was kidnapped by the desert folk. A girl born with incredible power.
The shadow elf girl we rescued.
That's right.
Oh man, I nearly forgot we even had her with us.
It was imperative that we retrieve her before the desert folk could exploit her power and use it against us, against her own people. After years of searching, we came upon the village where we believed she was being held. The desert folk there denied even having her at all. When they refused to comply, I was given the order to leave no one alive. Kill every man, woman, and child. Burn down every home. I supported our cause in the war, but this was a step too far, so I refused the order. I was arrested on the spot and stripped of my command. And then they slaughtered the village anyway.
Adeline puts her hand on Matson's shoulder, empathetically understanding kind of that situation.
From there, I was brought back to the capital, and I was charged and found guilty as a traitor to the cause and to my people. They stripped me of my magic, and I was set to be executed.
Well, what do you mean they stripped you of your magic?
Well, all shadow elves are born with an innate magical ability.
They stripped you of it? I mean, how would they even do that?
Let's just say it's a terrifying process.
So do you think this guy is specifically looking for you? Is he trying to cash in on a bounty or something?
I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure where he stands. His name is Vorens Black.
And what of the man with him?
Him I've never seen before.
At this point, Burgarth walks over with a hot goose pie, and he sets it down on the table that you're standing next to. Compliments of the men in the corner.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Junk reaches out and he takes the pie and he looks at it and he's about to take a big chunk out of it and abruptly eat it like he does so many things.
Junk, pause. Just pause for a second. First of all,
I don't have paws, I have hands.
No, I mean, stop. Don't eat the pie.
Oh.
We don't know what's in the pie.
Oh. Oh my god, you're right. Do you think that somebody was blow darted and then this is a person?
I think that's less likely. What could be more likely is poison in the pie.
Oh.
So I don't know if we should eat this.
Junk, still with the pie in his hand outstretched, turns and is now just directly looking at them.
Vorens raises his glass of Nautilus lager in your direction and nods politely at you.
Adeline gently bows her head very, nervous at this point of what's going to happen based on now this history we've learned from Matson. She turns to Matson. I mean, he's seen us. Should we go over, or do you want to bolt? It's up to you.
And we have to say thank you. He got us this pie or shot a person and made us this pie.
I don't think we have to say anything, but he did make this gesture.
Yeah, maybe this is just a big misunderstanding. And Junk immediately begins to walk over.
Adeline sighs deeply and follows.
Matson sucks it up and walks over to, trying to act confidently.
As they walk up to the table, Junk nods at the two men.
Thank you kindly for the pie. To what do we owe the gift?
Well, you all look a hot mess.
Junk looks a bit offended. He thinks he looks great.
Yes, we have been traveling in this unforgiving climate for quite a while now.
Yes, and there was a nasty storm. Nothing like a hot goose pie to warm up your insides.
Well, thank you.
Is that what this is? I thought it was goose pie.
Yes.
Please, have a seat. There's not enough people here, and Vorens is not a lot of company.
Oh, I get it, because he's not a very big person. I get it.
Junk sits down next to the unknown man.
Vorens, these are my companions. This is Junk.
How do you do?
Adeline.
Pleasure to meet you.
They're both very brave and capable warriors.
Yes.
It's good to see you.
Lovely to see you as well.
Here on assignment, I imagine?
You imagine correctly.
Very good.
This is my, friend, Falling Star.
A pleasure. Falling Star is slightly larger than most desert folk. He has olive skin with a relatively thick beard. He has dark hair that is pulled back and in dreadlocks, and he has steel blue eyes.
Falling Star. That's such a beautiful name. I've never quite heard one like that before.
Yes, outsiders usually find the way us desert folk are named a bit interesting.
Yeah, actually, I know this. If I recall correctly from my short time with the desert folk, women tend to name their children after the first thing that they see after giving birth.
Falling Star looks surprised at Junk. That is correct, yes.
Yeah, I learned that from my friend Rampaging Grizzly Bear just tore off the front door.
If I may be blunt, it's interesting to see a shadow elf and desert folk sitting here together. What brought you two to Rymor?
Oh, it's a gas, really. Both Falling Star and I ended up on roughly the same mission. I don't know if you all are aware, but the gnomes are batshit. This influx of necromantic magics in the south alerted my commanding officers, as well as Falling Stars, and lo and behold, we were both sent here where it's as cold as a witch's teat to investigate.
Well, it would seem our paths aren't too dissimilar.
Quite. And General Matson, how did you get wrapped up in all of this?
Oh, I was sent here on orders. All very hush-hush. You know how these things go. The fewer that are in the know, the better.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
Adeline kicks Junk under the table. And, Junk, why don't you eat some of that pie?
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Junk cuts into the pie with his hand like a karate chop.
Give me a clumsy check.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That's an 11.
Not quite clean, but he does manage to do this without splattering people or burning himself. It is a hot pie.
Yeah, this is a really good pie.
Junk looks over to the barkeep and holds the pie up.
This is a really good pie.
Burgarth scowls. Of course it's a good pie.
Falling Star hides a knife that could have been used to hide.
Aw.
Well, it seems our paths are in service of a similar goal. I can say firsthand some of the things I've seen here in Rymor are disturbing, to say the least. I fear for what the gnomes have planned for this world.
Indeed. There's a seemingly unending blizzard to the west of here and a massive avalanche that has blocked all westerly roads out of Jorn. Falling Star and I have been theorizing it may be magical in origin. So, with the sea as our only viable route, I was considering scoping out the docks for a vessel in the morning. Doesn't have to be fancy or anything, just something to take us further into Brayfrost.
Well, that sounds like a fine idea. If you need some assistance, I know of 3 people and 6 hands. That would be.
Junk. No, I'm sure Mr. Black doesn't need our help, and I'm sure we would just get in his way. I'm sure he has a very strict plan, and he must stick to it.
Well, need is a strong word, but Andy looks to Falling Star.
We do know of a band of pirates in the area who have commandeered my friend Captain Wolf's frigate. I personally would love to help him get it back, but we don't know how many of these pirates there are, and as you can see...
It's just the two of us by our lonesome.
Do you think this Captain Wolf would provide us passage to Bitter Cove if we helped him get his ship back?
I'm sure he would help anyone who helped him retrieve his prized possession.
Matson is trying to hide his trembling hand. Well, then, yeah, certainly. If we could be of some help, then we'd be glad to.
Oh, Matson, you would be of great help to us. And Vorens is just staring into you this entire conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Which Adeline has noticed, but her thought is if he is indeed a threat to Matson, then she'd rather keep her enemies closer.
Adversely so, Junk is completely lost. He now thinks that Matson is actually on some secret mission that we don't know of. He has no idea who is a friend and who's not a friend at this point.
Well, you three all look still frozen to the bone, and Vorens gets up from his seat and starts walking towards the bar. I'm going to get all three of you rooms for the night.
That's so generous.
Oh, if you insist.
I must insist. And he leaves you alone with Falling Star as he goes to talk with the barkeep.
Well, he seems nice.
Vorens does enjoy throwing his coin around. So, you fought with the desert folk?
Yes, but only briefly. I'm originally from the village of Fernway.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Yes, the desert folk took me in my youth. They were kind, mostly, and were especially happy to have my talents on the battlefield.
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Eventually, I'd have to move on, and not long after that, I found myself on a refugee ship here to Rymore.
I am glad that my people were able to help you. He turns his attention over to Matson. You fought with Vorens, is that what I am to understand?
Oh, no, though we've fought on the same side, unfortunately we have yet to share a battlefield. His skills in combat are that of legend, and his magic prowess is said to be unmatched. I'm excited at the opportunity to see them firsthand.
And at this, Vorens walks back to the table with a big smile on his face. We appear to be the only people staying at the Nosy Narwhal. Imagine that. So, you'll all have your own room, which could be handy as a courtesy. We are adjacent to the slums where one can find whores to suit any sexual desire or proclivity.
Oh.
Not that I know from experience. I'm going to turn in early, but Matson, please stop by my room. Last door on the left before you go to sleep. We have some catching up to do. He gives all of you one more smile and stops at Matson to give a longer, intentional eye contact with a slight nod before turning to head upstairs.
Junk is, at this point, almost done with the entire pie because nobody else had any. And he's also at the bottom of his Blute beer.
Well, this was delightful. I'd sure like another one. What about you, Adeline?
Sounds like a good idea. She walks over to the bar.
Adeline, I'll take the hardest thing that they've got.
Hello. What are you offering tonight, my dear sir?
We got this Nautilus Lager. We got Dark and Stormy. We got Blute Beer. We got Pokey Dokey. And for food, we got more goose pie where that came from, corn pudding, and mountain piker stew.
Oh, wow. That's quite a great selection. You wouldn't happen to have any Sibulan Blue out here, would you?
This far south? No. We do got Pokey Dokey, though. If you've never had it, it's excellent.
All right.
It's at 90% proof. It will knock you on your ass.
We'll see. I'll take 4 of those.
All right. 4 gold.
She gives him 4 gold.
Burgarth pulls out 4 stoneware mugs. He has to use these mugs, he explains, because Pokey Dokey will eat right through wooden mugs. He pulls the tap handle and a frightening green liquor fills each mug.
Adeline's eyes widen, but with excitement. And she turns to head back to the table.
Oi, girl.
Yes?
He pours one more. He's like, give a shot to my lady Llewellyn, too. And he hands her one to give to the old woman playing cello in the corner.
Certainly. So Adeline takes a pit stop over to the cellist first. Ma'am, this is from the barkeep.
She doesn't hear you.
Aw. So Adeline just sits the drink down next to her instead so that she can see it.
She looks up at you. She is ancient. She smiles very sweetly, takes the glass and kicks it back real hard, like expertly. And then her cello playing is much better, like immediately.
Adeline kind of lingers for a moment like, totally in love for a second there, just at this mysterious old lady who just started kicking ass. And then heads back over to the table and sits the cups in front of everyone at the table.
Oh, thanks, Addy.
Junk grabs.
What's this?
He smells it.
I think it's better.
Doesn't matter. He just downs it.
I think that's actually the right attitude here, Junk.
And you're going to need to roll for Constitution to see how that affects you.
That's a 7.
The Pokidoki burns Junk's throat as it goes down. Nearly immediately, he feels warmth in his cheeks and a hastening in his newly revived heart. This shoots pulses into the emotional, nostalgic center of Junk's brain, and these effects will only increase with time.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Matson was going to down it all at once, but he reconsiders and takes a smaller sip.
Adeline begins sipping as well.
As you're both sipping, you're not going to have to roll for Constitution like Junk.
Falling Star produces a small pipe and puffs a little bit on the pipe and seems to be a little lost in thought.
So, Falling Star, how long have you two been in Rymore?
We've been here for a little over a week.
Well, I can tell you I've been here for several weeks, and I admit the place has grown on me, but I am looking forward to heading back home and showing everyone the things that I've learned.
The climate is not necessarily to my liking, but when you grow up where I have, different things can affect how you feel. And he goes back to puffing his pipe.
Matson considers further probing Falling Star, but realizes in doing so he might show his own cards, so he likes to stay quiet.
So, is there anything we should know about this Captain Wolf we're eating?
It's been a while since I've seen Captain Wolf, but he's a good soul, and he wants to do well and do right by others, I think. But he is probably the best ship's captain I've ever known.
Great.
Junk staring at Falling Star's pipe.
Your pipe is making me feel really nice, Falling Star.
It's some herbs that I found along our way here in Rymore. We don't have things like this.
You guys, you remember when Ornie used to collect herbs?
The alcohol is getting a little bit to Junk, and he's feeling very emotional.
You guys, I really miss Ornie. I miss the little guy. I hope him and Ren are doing good stuff.
And an awful image enters Matson's mind and pushes it aside very quickly.
I'm sure they're great, Junk. We miss Ornie too.
Well, Falling Star, it's been a pleasure. It's been a long day. Tomorrow promises to be even longer. I'm going to need my rest, so I will say goodnight.
Certainly. I think I will too, Matson. She gets up behind him.
Oh, okay. You guys go get some rest. I'm gonna just sit here for a couple more minutes and think about Ornie. And I also miss Scampersan. Oh, guys, I miss people.
Junk, you should go to bed soon.
Okay, I will.
As Matson and Adeline are walking up the stairs, she pulls him over to the side for a moment. So, Matson, what are you thinking? Where's your head at?
I can't tell if they're onto me or if they're playing games or if they're...
Do you trust him at all? Do you think he's being sincere?
I can't say that I trust him, but at this point, I'm not sure what other option we have.
If you're afraid for the girl, I could take her for you, keep her safe.
No, I'll hold on to it, but thank you.
Well, if you're sure, why don't I at least pick a room next to Voren's and keep an ear out?
That's a good idea. I appreciate that.
So Adeline heads upstairs and she's going to look for the room next to Voren's.
Yeah, there are 6 rooms available upstairs. Voren's has the suite in the back left, while Falling Star has the suite in the back right. So if you choose the second room on the left, you will share a thin wooden wall with Voren's.
So Adeline enters that room and remains alert and attentive, listening in on Voren.
Matson needs a moment to collect himself before meeting with Voren's, so he enters the first room on the left, the one that shares a wall with Adeline.
Back at the table, in what's left of the sauce that was in the pie, Junk is drawing on the table with his finger a little gnome hat and then a little top hat next to it. And his head is resting in his hands as he thinks.
So what about you, Falling Star? Any of your best friends recently leave you?
Falling Star is bemused at what he's seeing right now. Smoking his pipe, he is just sitting there in silence. He's smirking at what you're doing and your behavior, but he is not engaging necessarily.
Okay, all right. I'm not gonna make a talk about it. Do you care to share though?
And he gestures towards his pipe.
This may be too much for you if you are not used to the pipe.
Oh,
Do you smoke?
no, but I used a blow dart once.
Sort of the opposite thing. Here, and he will sort of tap out what he had in the pipe, and he'll stuff some different stuff in there, and he'll light that, and he'll start it, and then he will hand it over to you.
Junk takes the pipe, which is very small in his larger hand.
Mm-hmm.
He has no idea what to do with a pipe. He just assumes what you see when somebody smokes a pipe. So he puts it in his mouth, and he just takes a big suck inwards.
In the thick of war as we are, my people are no strangers to losing loved ones. We have developed this particular blend. It will help soothe one's woes. How do you feel?
Junk exhales,
I feel pretty good.
and Junk hands it back.
Falling Star looks at the pipe and notices that it's almost all gone and nods and taps it out and glad it could help. And with that, I will take my leave. Good night, Junk. It was nice meeting you.
You as well. Sleep easy.
Junk is left sitting there at the table all by himself. He kind of wants to socialize. So he looks over at the bartender who sassed him a little bit earlier about the pie being obviously good, and instead gets up and walks over and stands in front of the stage where the cellist is playing.
She does not notice you.
Junk waves at her.
She does not notice you.
Junk waves at her with two hands.
She has no idea that there's someone standing in front of her.
Junk starts to touch himself, thinking that potentially he is invisible.
You know what? I should probably just go to bed.
And then he heads upstairs, and I want to see what rooms are available.
There are 2 rooms to the right available.
Junk stumbles into the second room on the right and immediately lays down for the night.
After some time collecting himself, Matsun leaves his pack and all his weapons and stuff in his room, save for a single dagger that he hides in his cloak. He exits his room and walks to what he believes to be Voron's door and raps on it.
With a small creak, the door opens. Voron pokes his head out and holds up a small piece of paper that reads, "Come with me." He doesn't wait for you to agree. He just starts walking down the hall and expects you to follow.
Matsun is obviously surprised by this, but he follows.
Voron leads Matsun down the stairs and out the front doors of the Nosy Narwhal.
Matsun follows him outside and closes the door behind them.
In the dark of night, it is freezing. Whew. Oh, that's brisk. I apologize. I would have liked to converse in the warmth of the room, but you took a little longer than I would have liked. My suite shares a wall with Falling Star, and I wish to discuss things far from his rounded desert folk ears.
So, wait, is he not our ally?
He's been an ally, but this isn't about him. Let's cut to the chase. You know I know, Matsun.
No, what?
That you have my niece.
Oh, yes, Corvin. I rescued her. I've been keeping her safe.
And we're also pleased that you found her.
A wave of relief washes over him. Yes, she's indeed safe with me. But there's something you should know. When I rescued her, I found her under a strange spell. A powerful mage trapped her in this unusual form. I've been seeking a way to free her, but this magic is...
I'm gonna stop you right there. Matsun, I'm tickled you think that I would not know all of this already. I'm going to tell you something, and I don't want you to be mad about it, but you've had a tracing spell on you this entire time.
What? Tracing spell? Put on by whom? And when?
You were a very high-ranking official. We needed to make certain that you weren't a liability. So, after my brother Palathurl stripped you of your magic, the High Seer imbued you not only with a tracking spell, but also a sleeper agent hypnosis. Nearly every night since you've been away, you've fed information to the Stormcrows, who echo said information to my spies in Morganfall.
I'm so glad I could be such a great help.
You have indeed been an immense help. I'm sorry that you did this without your knowledge, but you must understand, When the desert folk stole my niece and raised her as their own, that was devastating to my family. We need her back.
Of course. I mean, you know what I did to get her back.
Yes. I read a very detailed report about all of that. And there are many who are grateful, nonetheless, for your efforts, no matter how extreme. But concerning Corvin, there's a way to extract her from her condition. A spirit door in Bitter Cove. Falling Star, bless his heart, has become an unexpected friend in all of this. I know he wishes for Corvin, or Halneth, as they call her, to be returned to his people. But this cannot happen.
No, of course not.
Her capacity for magic is unlike any other shadow elf that we've ever known. She could change the world.
She will. With her power, we will win this war against the desert folk.
Eventually, yes. And after that, it's on to Fjormire with their forests rich in magic, ripe for the taking.
And what of Rymor? If you've been gathering information from me, then you must surely be aware that the gnomes have stolen Kabana stones in this area. That much magic could be incredibly useful to us.
Kelbana magic is impressive, but Rymor, for the moment, is too far away to be a concern for us.
Matson doesn't show it, but he is again relieved. Perhaps a while ago, Matson wouldn't care and maybe even would have championed the Shadow Elves marching on to Rymor, but he's grown to like the place, and he's happy to hear that. So then what's the plan with Falling Star? If all he's after is Corvin, do we just get rid of him?
I'm not sure what to do with Falling Star. I've grown quite affectionate towards him. He's incredibly handy in a battle. He's a battle medic. He can affect change in a way I've never seen utilized before. We'll cross that bridge, though, if we have to. For now, it is so fucking cold out here.
Yes, let's go back inside.
He heads back inside and starts walking up the stairs. He looks back at you one more time. Oh, Matson, I wish things had turned out differently. And with that, he heads back to his room.
Matson is not totally sure what to take away from that last line, but as he has been tense this entire time for this whole conversation, he finally relaxes and goes back into his room.
So, after a full night's of rest, the party awakens feeling well rested. The beds are quite comfortable, and sunlight is pouring in through the window, but it's that sort of sunlight that makes you feel like, but it's still fucking cold outside.
Adeline makes her way downstairs, stretching.
When you head downstairs, you find Falling Star, Vorens, and who you presume to be Captain Wolf all gathered together. Captain Wolf is a jocular fellow in a blue felt tricorn hat with a plume of feathers. He appears, as Falling Star described him, to be a nice guy.
Adeline walks over to the group. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How did you sleep?
Excellently, actually. Thank you so much again for the room.
Oh, my pleasure.
Hey, pleased to meet you.
Oh, you must be the Captain Wolf I've been hearing so much about. Nice to meet you.
My lady.
And he takes your hand and he wants to kiss you on top of your hand if you'll let him.
Adeline allows it.
And yes, he kisses you on the hand and looks you up and down like you please him, but not in an overly creepy way, but slightly. He is a pirate.
Matson exits his room and walks downstairs, meeting the rest of the party.
Vorens looks up and sees you and gives you a slight nod as you approach the group.
Matson nods back. Morning.
Well, I'm really pleased. Is this everyone?
No, actually, there's one more of us. Junk. I'm sure he'll be down any moment.
Oh, good. There's more of you. You'll need all the help you can get. These sea silk pirates are formidable. Rumor has it they're in league with the gnomes. They'll steal or sink any ship that tries to travel west into Brayfrost.
I'm not surprised.
We should tread very carefully after some of the necromancy we've seen.
Worse is, I hear they worship this pirate queen.
Oh?
Yeah, Ariadne. There's a lot of stories about her. You don't ever know which is true. Something about her having multiple legs, even.
Like a spider?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many spiders in the region. I can only imagine that.
Spiders?
Yeah. Is that a problem, Fallen Star?
Falling Star has his eyes shifting back and forth. No problem.
I wouldn't worry, Falling Star. She can't be any worse than the things we've faced. Adeline here is a highly skilled archer, and Junk is surprisingly effective.
Where is Junk anyway?
And at that, Junk kicks open the door of his room and steps out. He is in the best mood he's been in quite a while, thanks to Falling Star's pipe from the night prior. The light behind him is creating this beautiful silhouette. It looks like he's about to sing a song to you all. Though he does not. Instead, he just begins his strut downstairs.
Let's have a clumsy roll for that.
Of course. That's a natural 20.
Ooh, he jumps on the banister and glides down with the grace of a trained acrobat.
He lands feet down, looks over at Captain Wolf, points and snaps.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, wow, I like this guy.
Oh, I like you too.
I like this guy. He's got a good voice.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
Adeline kind of looks back and forth between them like, oh no.
Monson rubs his head a little bit because he has a very slight hangover from limited alcohol. He's like, how does Junk feel so good?
So what are we doing today, guys?
He claps his hands together and just prepped for the world.
Well, this is what I got for you. And he holds up a map of Jorn. Here we all are at the Nosy Narwhal. To the south of town, you'll find a long-ass ramp down to the beach. Follow that west, and there's a sea cave. My ship should be inside, hopefully all in one piece. Stormrunner. She's a beaut. You can't miss her. A fresh coat of green and red paint on her hull and the visage of a sea queen on the stern. Just spread eagle on the front. And by spread eagle, I mean spread arms like an eagle. Not that kind of ship.
Adeline looks disappointed.
I really appreciate everyone doing this for me or attempting to do this for me. In the meantime, I'll be here collecting my crew.
It's our pleasure. We'll get that ship back for you.
Absolutely. Lead the way, Adeline.
Junk, despite saying lead the way, Junk walks outside first.
Oh, Junk. Adeline steps outside and waits for a moment for her eyes to adjust. She surveys to take in the sights, and I want to roll for perception. An unnatural 20.
So, Jorn is a seaside city with old stone buildings that are simultaneously water damaged and sun bleached. To the east, merely meters away, you find the arched gate that you plodded through the day before, a distant memory due to your traveler's fatigue. To the west, following Jorn's main street, you see it come to a fork at a central temple devoted to Amik. Devoted priests are performing a service before a small crowd. They remind you both in dress and in disposition of revered Father Merson, who you met back in Bogworth.
Oh.
To the south, you see the slums, the poorest part of town. And as Vorens and Falling Star lead you through these slums, you find it filled with broken crates, wandering chickens, and wayward hookers getting an early start on the day.
Junk is strutting by and snapping and pointing at every single one of them.
Good day to you. Hey, good morning. Hey, all right.
Junk, you do realize that when you do that, it makes them think that you are agreeing to an informal contract with them.
No, I do not know.
And he's continuing to do it.
Junk, knock it off.
Yes, Adeline.
Yeah, Vorens is looking back to them and giving them the silent, like, no, he doesn't mean it sign. And when you exit the slums, you find that Jorn does not have a southern wall, but that the city just stops suddenly at a tremendously high cliff face that drops to a rocky beach 200 feet below. Vorens takes a hard right and leads you along a narrow, crumbling path to a man-made switchback ramp of carved stone and wood that leads to the sea-level beach and docks.
As we are walking down this ramp, Matson turns to Falling Star. Falling Star, Vorens tells me that you are quite the skilled combat medic. Is this true?
Yes, it is true.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do in a fight.
I'm sure you are.
And it is indeed impossible to hide the very impressive battle scythe on Falling Star's back. Continuing down the series of ancient ramps, you pass citizens of Jorn pushing and pulling carts of fish and various supplies with a sort of apathetic toil that lets you know that this is just everyday life for them. Finally, when you reach the docks, you find that barring a small fishing boat, there are no ships. Just every dock slip is empty. You find a small set of stairs that leads to the beach that heads west.
Matson just breathes in the sea air and he likes it.
And as you walk along this beach, it's a very white sand beach, and you understand that this comes from the very white-faced cliffs that you walk along. There's not a lot of growth in this cliff. It is incredibly cold. The wind chill, especially coming off the ocean, is awful in your face. As you continue to walk, you notice a very large opening into a sea cave is going to appear on your right side.
Adeline pulls her pelt up a little bit closer around her neck. Oh, let's hurry up and get in this cave. It's freezing out here.
I don't expect it's going to be much warmer inside the cave.
Matson subtly is eyeing Vorens up and down, and I want to roll to see if I can perceive what kind of weapons he has on him. That is a natural 20.
Woo!
Yeah, you get a really good look at Voren's Black today. He wears black scaled, lightweight armor ornamented with gold and red. He carries his Dao Katana, Exequi, on his back. The slender, dark steel blade looks to you to be approximately 4.5 feet long. At his waist, he carries his dagger, specifically a Tanto, that you recall carries the nickname Bravo. Also on his person is a small pouch, which you, as a former high-ranking Shadow Elf, know could only contain a claw ring, which is used in extreme conditions to extract magic from another magic user. His would undoubtedly be emblazoned with his family's crest, as is tradition. He also carries a small leather-bound journal and several packets of his family's black tea recipe.
Junk pulls out one of his torches, fires it up, holds it as high as he can, walking inwards towards the cave.
Vorens immediately puts his hand on your shoulder to stop you from doing this. What are you doing?
Oh, I thought we were going in the cave.
Yeah, we are going in a cave,
Stealthily, Junk.
Stealth is key. Perhaps you should walk in the back, the far back.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, of course.
He puts the torch out in the sand below their feet.
Matson, will you take point with Falling Star and I?
Absolutely.
Adeline and Junk, in the meantime, keep a safe distance. Come to our rescue, though, if you hear us scream.
Save the screamer. You got it.
Before entering, Falling Star bends down and plunges both his hands into the sand, grabbing handfuls of it. As he rises, he clasps his hands together strongly, rubbing the sand all around them, creating a hardened texture which begins to cover them.
When you enter the sea cave, you find that the beach continues as a thin strip of muddy sand before reaching a set of stairs that attaches to a wood plank path that's been built into the side of the cave. As we move on, I need Falling Star and Matson to roll a stealth check.
I got a 6.
15 for Matson.
Vorens looks back to Adeline and Junk and gives them a hand signal to signify, hey, wait back.
Junk puts his hand back out, doing the exact same thing he does to him, thinking that they're like doing a cool hand symbol to each other.
Adeline puts her hand on Junk's raised hand and starts pushing it down and is like, and nods.
Sorry, I thought he was doing a thing.
It's okay.
As Vorens, Falling Star, and Matson journey on, they find a grouping of barrels in their path. A lone sea silk pirate is loafing beside these barrels. Vorens exchange looks with Falling Star and Matson as if to say, which one of us is going to do it?
Falling Star will turn to Matson.
Matson, wanting to prove himself, I'll take care of it. And I want to roll perception to see if there's anybody else around here. Ooh, boy. 1.
It's very dark in the cave. Aside from the aforementioned pirate and the dock that you're standing on, you don't notice anything else.
Well, I would love to sneak up behind him and slit his throat with one of my Southland dirks. That's 9 accuracy for 5 damage.
Matson creeps up behind this pirate, moving silently. Then, drawing his Southland dirk to his throat, Matson cuts a messy, nervous line, squirting blood and leading the pirate to emit a brief that echoes against the cave walls.
Matson freezes, listening carefully for any additional movement.
You hear nothing.
Matson turns to Vorens and gives him a nod.
Vorens gives you a polite smile, but then looks to Falling Star and gives him a little, like, that could have gone better.
Falling Star shakes his head.
He then pokes his head out from behind the barrels and waves his arms towards Adeline and Junk, inviting them to come to the barrels, but then wait there at the barrels.
Adeline nods and advances quietly.
And Junk follows her.
Adeline and Junk reach the barrels, while Falling Star, Vorens, and Matson journey on. As they continue to sneak, they can see further into the cave, which opens up into a lagoon. Parked at a dock are 2 ships. The first is presumably Captain Wolf's ship, the Stormrunner. It's a frigate with large white sails. The second is likely to belong to the Sea Silk Pirates, which has black sails and is covered in disturbingly large spider webs.
Falling Star guides the others to the closest cover, and then he peers out, and I'm going to roll perception. It's a 5.
Looking further, you can see that light is filtering in from a natural skylight. Crisscrossing shadows indicate this light is obscured by something you can't make out. The cave ends with a large section of dock, big enough to support 3 small buildings. There is movement, but you don't get a good enough view to count exactly how many pirates may be milling about.
Falling Star looks towards Vorens and nods towards the town and makes a hand signal that says, "There's more."
Vorens flashes a half smile and reaches into his belongings. He removes the cork from a small glass phylactery and downs its contents. Nearly immediately, he fades until he's become effectively invisible. A thin line of distortion remains around his form, but in such a way that you'd have to know to look for it. He rushes away from you towards the closest isolated pirate. It's a bizarre sight to see, but this pirate's throat is slit by something entirely unseen. Still invisible, Vorens hushes him to the ground and hides his body behind a stack of crates.
Matson is happy that there is now one less enemy in play, but is a little nervous to see just how skilled Vorens is.
You hear some footsteps approach you, and then suddenly you hear Vorens whisper, "I count 5.
Well, that's not too much.
Yeah, and this should be easy.
Shall we move in then? Full force? I think we can surprise them."
Falling Star beckons to Adeline and Junk to come forward.
We oblige.
Once they arrive, Falling Star pulls off one of the mini potions connected to his crisscross bandolier. It's soft blue in color, and he extends it out to the party. Drink this. Not all of it. You don't need very much. He's giving you each a potion of haste.
Junk takes a tiny little sip and hands the bottle over to Adeline.
Adeline smells it first and then also takes a sip.
Matson takes a sip right away.
Drinking this potion gives you the sensation of becoming very wired, like an adrenaline shot directly to your heart.
Whoa, this feels weird. What exactly is this going to do to us?
This will allow you to move faster than you normally would be.
Yeah, all right, yeah, I'm feeling it. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's get the ship and then let's smash some pirates.
Maybe this was a mistake.
Agreed. And Matson feels a pat on his shoulder from Vorens, signaling that it's time. And everyone needs to roll for initiative.
Right. 15 for Matson.
13 for Junk.
11 for Adeline.
3 for Falling Star.
As the party is imbued with haste, you all get a complete surprise round on these pirates.
Nice.
There are 4 pirates staggered on the right side path, some with arms full of items on their way to and from these docked ships. Beyond them, seated at a desk in front of these 3 buildings, is a Sea Silk pirate captain. He is counting gold coins. And it is Matson's turn to act first.
So Matson wants to try his brand new special move, Spirit Sprint, and he's going to run in between everyone and take a tiny little stab at as many as he can.
Great, yeah, there are 5 enemies ahead of you, which means you can Spirit Sprint between all 5, and at the end of your turn, you will end up flanked beside that last enemy.
That is 11 accuracy for 20 and 12 damage.
Wow.
Woo.
When Matson starts to run towards the enemy, the translucent orange figure of a spirit leaps out in front of him. It turns around to embrace Matson, and as it does, Matson too becomes intangible.
Woo.
With this intangible sprint, his blade is not. He cuts through Pirate 1, Pirate 2, Pirate 3, Pirate 4, and lands on the captain's desk, kicking him to the ground and slicing him as well. Matson rolls up to his feet at the ready, having delivered 16 damage to all 5 of his victims.
You could do that this whole time?
If Vorens were physically visible to the party, they would have seen that he's aghast. For all that he's aware of concerning Matson, he was not privy to his relationship with this mysterious spirit. And as it is Vorens' turn to act, he readied his move he likes to call Part the Red Sea. The glint of his sword, Exequi, is seen for a moment before he brings it down upon the next closest pirate. In a gory display of violence, the pirate is sliced cleanly from scalp to crotch and falls apart in 2 separate directions. And it is Junk's turn to act next.
Junk is amped on the stuff that Falling Star gave him and lets out his Orkin rage roar.
Yeah, roll for the effectiveness of your roar.
That's a 17.
Ooh.
Junk's Orkin roar evokes fear in the remaining 3 pirates on this wooden path. The captain, however, resists this surge of fear. So make 3 attack rolls for the 3 affected pirates.
11, a 10, and a 7.
As you charge the terrified first pirate, the might from your warhound knocks him off the path and sends him flying into the lagoon. The second pirate carries a pair of daggers, but is clearly not ready for combat as he gets viciously pummeled into the side of the cave wall, leaving him staggered and disoriented. Finally, the third pirate was in the middle of carrying a potted plant in a terracotta vase. Junk's warhammer connects through this terracotta vase to his gut, sending the pirate to his hands and knees, gasping for air, and amazed thus far by this onslaught of him and his crew. And it is Adeline's turn to act.
Adeline is going to aim for the captain, as he will presumably cause us the most trouble, so she quickly pulls out her bow and arrow and uses Eagle Eye.
So Adeline gets down on one knee to take aim at the pirate captain with precision. And then it is Falling Star's turn to act.
Falling Star will rush towards Potted Plant Guy, who is on his hands and knees, unsling his scythe, and swing upwards in an attempt to cut his head off.
Ooh.
Woo!
15 for 7.
As Potted Plant Guy, or Crazy Zed, as he's known to his pirate friends, is staggered and prone. And before you know it, Crazy Zed's head is sailing through the air and lands in the water next to his friend who was swimming back to the docks. Following your surprise round, the Sea Silk pirates have surprises of their own. 2 pirates emerge from the far left shack, drawn by the commotion. The first swipes at Matson with his cutlass, but Matson expertly evades. The second launches his spear at Matson, cutting a bloody line across his shoulder for 3 damage. Luckily, it is Matson's turn to act next.
Matson is now feeling very confident and spots the nearest pirate, and he's going to try his second new special move, Memories of Magic, and he sticks his hand out like he's expecting something to happen.
All right.
12.
The sudden appearance of these 2 pirates beside their captain triggers Matson's anxiety of being outnumbered, perhaps prompted by Vorin's or the continued presence of the child in the egg, but memories of magic flood Matson's subconscious. He feels it at first, the heat in his ears, an increasing pace in his heart before the energy exits as a blast of purple haze from his fingertips. The haze hits both of these pirates and prompts both of them to turn and look at each other. And when they do, they've become the other's most bitter enemy.
Nice.
While this is happening, Vorin's invisibility begins to wear off, and he can be seen running towards the part of the dock where a rope ladder exists. The pirate that Junk previously knocked into the water has started to climb up, but Vorin meets him there, and with his blade Bravo, stabs him in the back of the head.
Jeez.
The pirate plops right back into the water and floats away dead. And
Nice.
It is Junk's turn.
Junk is going to turn his attention to the guy who he knocked into the cave wall, smirk at him, and still feeling super energized, rush at him with a big ol' overhand smash of his warhammer, and he's aiming to armor break. That's an 8 to hit for 10.
As Junk swings, the pirate evades him, and Junk's warhammer crashes into the side of the wall, and I need you to roll a clumsy check.
It's an 8.
Chunks of cave wall rain down upon Junk, but luckily for 0 damage.
Oh man, you're so lucky.
And it's time for Adeline to shoot her eagle eye arrow.
Well, the accuracy is a nice crit fail,
Oh.
but for 20 damage.
Oh boy.
Wow.
I don't know what that means.
Though Adeline was aiming for the captain, he ducks, causing a last-minute adjustment in her aim. The arrow collides with a towering stack of gold coins, spraying them in every direction and at such a speed that Matson will have to roll a defensive check to keep from being injured by one of these coin bullets.
Oh boy. Here we go. 8.
And he's fine. And it's Falling Star's turn to act.
Falling Star crouches and spins, and while doing so, he pulls another vial off of his bandolier, and aiming at the 2 quarreling pirates, he throws an exploding toxic poison.
Ooh.
Shit.
As an 8.
Falling Star's potion crashes at the 2 pirates' feet. sending shards of glass flying and embedding into their flesh. Green poison starts to course through their veins. They are still at odds with each other, but with such a toxic poison at work, you wonder how long their battle could possibly last. The pirate captain now finally gets to his feet, enraged. He looks up at the sky with his fists in the air and cries out,
Great Ariadne, we need you.
With these words, a creepy shadow overtakes the light from the skylight. The threads of spider webbing that reach down to the ships and the tops of buildings jostle as long, spindly legs make their way down from the ceiling. The large creature that descends is reminiscent of a spider. She is a drachnid.
Good.
Drachnids have upper bodies similar to shadow elves, gray, nearly black skin with white hair and red eyes. They are similar in a way to centaurs, but where a centaur's body continues into a horse, a drachnid has the legs and thorax of a spider. Ariadne has a pirate hat and cutlass of her own. Her proportions are giant, taking up nearly the entire platform you're all standing on.
Jeez.
Unfortunately for her, the two poison pirates have begun fighting, so her arrival is punctuated by the cutlassed pirate stabbing the spear-wielding pirate through the heart.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
And it is Matson's turn again.
Matson is going to go for a regular attack on this awesome spider woman. He's curious what she's capable of. And 11, 4, 5, and 9.
When Matson goes for an attack on Ariadne, she simply pushes him back with her hind leg. You do absolutely 0 damage to her.
Damn.
Oh, good.
Now the poison pirate who just murdered the other is without a living enemy, so he turns his attention back to Matson. So Matson, give me a defensive roll.
Here we go. 9.
The diseased pirate swings his cutlass at Matson and cuts into his shoulder for a heavy 7 damage.
Gah.
With this attack, the pirate has nearly succumbed to his poison. He falls to one hand and knee, nearly deceased. Vorens then moves towards Ariadne, but notices another pirate target in his path, the one who survived Junk's attack earlier. As he attacks, he stumbles over the fallen cave wall rocks and actually cuts himself with his very sharp sword.
Ooh.
He will spend the remainder of his turn checking to see if he has all of his fingers.
Ooh.
You guys are so clumsy.
Junk is next.
Still amped, despite having this, small section of this cave in on him, he is going to use his brand new Sikkim hammer throw and attempt to just burst his warhammer out of the rubble that he is under, aiming directly for this spider bitch's face.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 17.
Damn.
For 13.
Junk swings his warhammer around to build momentum before releasing it. It makes contact with Ariadne's midsection before Junk catches it and rolls back to his position. She takes minimal damage, if any, and scowls, her pride more damage than anything. It is Adeline's turn.
Adeline pulls a charm arrow and aims for the pirate who's been evading us. 14 accuracy for 12 damage.
Adeline removes a perfumed charm arrow and fires it at her target. A glorious heart-shaped cloud appears on contact, and he looks at you with complete adoration, utterly charmed.
Yay.
But he promptly falls over, dead. And it's Falling Star's turn now.
Falling Star pushes the captain towards the wall with the blade of his scythe at his neck and screams, Call her off! Call her off now! That's a 16.
The captain is unaffected by Falling Star's intimidation. He is currently too enamored with his pirate spider queen. He looks at her like the way that the pirate who was just charmed by Adeline looked at her. He does respond, however, with a crazed laugh. And Falling Star, I need you to roll a defensive check.
14.
He shoves Falling Star back, frees his cutlass, and slashes him across the chest for 5 damage. Ariadne then raises her 2 humanoid hands in the air. This action means you all must roll a defensive check.
Oh boy.
God.
13 for Junk.
12 for Matson.
11 for Adeline.
3 for Falling Star.
Oh. She lowers her arms, and torrents of sticky spiderwebs rain down from above. Vorens, Matson, and Junk all dodge this attack, but Adeline and Falling Star are each struck and mummified by webbing. They'll remain incapacitated in this state unless cut free by an ally. And it is Matson's turn to act.
Matson, seeing that his physical attack wasn't entirely successful, he's going to try something he's been wanting to do for a long time, and he's going to try to conjure blood mist right in the middle of where she's standing. Try this! 9.
Matson cuts his palm with the bloodletting knife given to him by the seer Koma. A delicate mist forms around Ariadne's lower body. She takes minimal damage and looks back to Matson with a challenging smile. This is fun for her.
Matson gives the same look back to her. He's also enjoying this fight and is in awe of this creature's power.
And Vorens watches this exchange, curious as to how Matson is doing any magic as it was taken from him. Regardless, he readies his blade exequi for a powerful attack.
Just hold her off!
He stabs his blade into the wooden planks at his feet and cuts a perfect circle. The circle starts to fill slowly with a glowing red energy.
Matson sees this action and is still just in awe of what this guy is capable of, and also a little terrified.
And it is Junk's turn.
Despite the poison blood mist cloud that is surrounding this arachnid lady, Junk is going to rush in and go for the good old trusty Rage Wind attack. That's a 12 for 11 damage.
So Junk runs into the blood mist without any care for his own well-being and takes 4 damage upon entry. His Rage Wind strikes against Ariadne's spindly legs for 5, 5, 5, and then 6 damage.
Woo.
He will also need to roll a defensive check.
It's gross under here. When is the last time you washed?
That's a natty 20.
Oh!
Ariadne attempts to grab Junk with her legs, but Junk weaves in and out of her attempts. Struggling more in the blood mist actually ends up chipping away at her health, and Junk can hear her cursing in her mysterious language. Junk also hears Vorens from his position mid-spell yell out to him.
Get out of there!
Junk doesn't take his eyes off of Ariadne.
Why don't you do what you do and I'll do what I do?
It's the captain's turn now. He has Falling Star completely prone right now, and so he swings his cutlass at him for a heavy 20 damage.
Whoa.
Jeez.
This overhand slash does, however, free Falling Star from his spider webbing. Meanwhile, the red energy has nearly completed Voren's spell circle, and he calls out to Matson with panic on his face.
Would you get that idiot out of there?
And from there, it's Matson's turn.
Matson, not wanting to piss off Vorens, sprints towards Junk and is going to tackle him out of the blood mist.
Junk sees Matson running at him, relaxes his guard.
Oh, hey, Matson, what's going on? Why are you running at me?
And no sooner does Junk get these words out that he gets tackled by Matson out of the blood mist and out of Ariadne's radius.
What the hell?
Matson took 4 damage as well, diving through his own blood mist. But he should count his blessings that both he and Junk are no longer in the crosshairs of Voren's spell. For right when the red energy completes his carved circle, a hellish storm of black and red lightning strikes Ariadne through her heart. In horrific flashes, you see her skeleton. Her skin smokes and boils before she collapses and spills into the lagoon, still steaming. The smell of overcooked spider fills the air.
Damn.
The captain then screams,
No! My spider queen!
Junk is laying on his back with Matson on top of him, cheek to cheek after being tackled. Junk sees what just happens and goes, oh, and then gives Matson a little kiss on the cheek.
The captain then falls to his knees, lamenting the loss of his queen. It is Falling Star's turn next, but we have officially fallen out of battle.
Falling Star will unhook the sickle from his belt and attempt to lodge that in the captain's back.
Jeez.
And he is successful. The sickle goes right into the captain's back, and he slumps over, bleeding out on the deck.
Matson sees this and has been watching this desert folk person fight the whole time and is not very impressed, and he thinks like, typical.
Oh.
Ouch.
Ooh, ouch.
Someone get me out of here.
Vorens hears Adeline's muffled cries, and he has just regained his strength from his spell, and he removes his blade and says, "Oh, I'm sorry this happened to you. You must feel quite the fool." And then he cuts down from the top of your encasement very carefully and frees you.
Thank you. She stretches. Where did the Spider Queen go?
Oh, I squashed that bug with the strongest spell in my spell book. It's called Procession. It guarantees a painful death, but the casting time is long, and if I'm interrupted, it fails. But as I wasn't interrupted, you got a dead spider, bitch.
It was quite the thing to see.
Well, it stinks out here. Let's get this ship and get out of here.
Junk is dusting himself off. He puts his warhammer back and walks over to Falling Star and checks on him, make sure he's okay.
As that tender moment is happening, Adeline remembers the gold from earlier, and a little low on gold herself, she decides to walk over there and take whatever she sees.
Oh, you know what? That's actually a great idea, Adeline.
And Junk follows suit, and he's going to examine these pirates to see if they have anything on them.
In looting the individual pirates, Junk discovers that they aren't very well off and finds a combined 25 gold.
Hey, 25 gold. All right.
When Adeline reaches the table, though the money pile was scattered by her own rogue arrow, she finds 250 gold.
And Adeline's going to take every last piece.
Monson walks up to Vorens and puts a hand on his shoulder. It's an honor to finally fight alongside you. Your skills in battle are even greater than the stories have told.
And it was quite interesting to watch you battle. Who was that spiritual woman thing?
Well, I don't know for sure, but I'm sure you remember the stories of Teraven.
Oh, wait, is that who you think that might be?
Well, yes, I thought so.
I don't mean to poke fun, but the legends say Teraven attaches only to shadow elves of the utmost importance. And while you're quite skilled, you can't honestly believe she'd choose you.
It's hard to believe, I know, but I know it's her. And her presence has given me even greater confidence in the path that I've chosen. It must be Teraven. And even as Matson says this, he can't help but feel a little discouraged, and maybe Vorens is right.
Oh, Matson, you're absolutely precious. Why don't we and the spirit of the untouched battle goddess Teraven commiserate with Captain Wolf and see his ship to him? Oh, honestly.
Yes.
So Junk stands up with his 25 gold that he got off of this pirate. He walks over to the middle of these two ships standing on the docks.
Well, we have two to choose from. Which one you guys want to take?
We're taking this one, the Storm Runner.
Oh, the Storm Runner. Okay, super cool name and all, but hear me out. This one is all decorated with cool, intimidating spider stuff.
Yes, terrifying spider stuff. If it hasn't been obvious thus far at this point, it's quite clear to the party that Falling Star has a terrible fear of spiders.
Yes, Junk, but terrifying stuff aside, the Storm Runner is Captain Wolf's ship. Remember, we're supposed to get it, bring it to him, and I just remembered you were not a part of that conversation at all this morning.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but let's get the man his ship back.
Junk walks steadfast onto the Storm Runner and takes in the air. It feels nice to be on the deck of a ship again.
Mm-hmm.
Falling Star boards the ship as well. Yes, let's move quickly. This place is unsettling, and I can't help but think that creature may have laid eggs somewhere near here.
Adeline grimaces at the idea of spider babies and hurriedly boards Storm Runner.
Monson boards the Storm Runner as well. And he looks out over at the other ship. It's quite a lovely ship, but I don't like the idea of someone else using it to follow us.
Yeah, that's a great point. Say no more. Adeline takes out her bow, draws back a fire arrow, and shoots it at the mast of the spidery ship.
When the beetle gland arrow makes contact with the main mast, the ship catches instantaneously. Dry-rotted barrels and sails catch so quickly, in fact, it makes the party a tad nervous.
All right, I think we should get out of here. Who's going to steer the ship?
Oh, I don't know how to sail.
I don't know either.
I got this.
And I guess that is a good enough spot as any to end this, our first half of Chapter 9. We did some fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we were kind of badass this episode.
Definitely.
Especially Matson.
Especially Matson.
It's funny that, we were badass, and I was especially badass, but this is by far the most damage I've ever taken in a battle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 14.
Yeah, well, because
Whoa.
it's incredible when you finally actually get out and fight, you wuss, you take damage. Paul, what do we earn for our outing today?
Oh man, for defeating the Sea Silk Pirates and Queen Ariadna, you get 775 experience points.
Ooh, someone want to do that math for me real quick? I don't know that we'll get to the next level up, but it's you never know.
Yeah.
That would be 7245.
That brings us to 7,245, and our next level up is at 1,200? Question mark, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what a fun adventure. Thank you so much for joining us, Tom.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, a mysterious fellow is Falling Star.
I feel like we haven't learned all there is to know about
No,
Falling
I
Star.
feel like
Agreed.
I feel
There's
like
more.
out of every one of our guests of quests, I think we know the least about you going into the second half of this chapter, and it excites me. And I sort of hope that you and Matsun end up best friends.
Why wouldn't we?
Great question. Everybody else has fallen in love with you. Why not this guy? Tell us a little bit more about how people can find Saving Throw.
Saving Throw, you can find pretty much anywhere, any social media at Saving Throw Show. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, also on twitch.tv/savingthrowshow and youtube.com/savingthrowshow. All of our stuff, we stream 5 nights a week, and we have official streams on the D&D network, on Paizo, Pinnacle Entertainment, and Onyx Path. We do a bunch of different shows.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
That's
And if you enjoy this show, I guarantee you'll enjoy Saving Throw. In fact, as we mentioned at the start of the show, a lot of the D&DW alumni are people that also play for Saving Throw shows. So please check that out. And make sure you are following at D&DW Pod on all social media for all things Dungeons & Dragon Wagon, as well as visiting dndwpod.com. If you've never actually been to the website, I know a lot of people listen to podcasts, but they're like, oh, you say all that crap at the end. But why am I going to go? The show comes out on my feed and it doesn't matter. Well, there's stuff on the website that you're not going to get in your regular podcast feed, including shopping outings, fun little side things that you might see, as well as there's art and maps and all sorts of bonus content that you're only going to see at dndwpod.com. And guess what else you can do there, Matt?
What's that?
You can write us an email. You can contact us by clicking that contact button. Reach out, tell us your stories, tell us what you think of episodes, tell us who your favorite guests are, and just communicate, and we will read those and get back to those at our roundtables. And guess what else you can do at the website, Alexandra?
What?
You can check out the Dragon Wagon shop. And if you
Ooh.
enjoy the show and you want to support the show, the best way to do so is to pick up some sweet D&DW merchandise. We've got some awesome t-shirts and mugs, all really cool designs inspired by the world that we play in. And last but certainly not least of the business, please leave us a review on iTunes if you were enjoying this. I guess Apple Podcasts is what it's called now. It's the 90s, Jake. Get with it. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Tell us what you think of the show. There's no shortage of RPG actual play podcasts in the world. Getting us some great reviews is a great way to support the show and get in some more people's ear holes. As well as just reviewing the show automatically enters you to win one of our roundtable giveaways. And who doesn't like winning free shit?
I love it.
You, in fact, at the next episode, I'm going to say you are as tall as you love winning free shit.
I mean, I like free things, but I don't want free shit.
All right,
Thank you.
you're bringing us down a path that is not a good path for the end of the show. Once again, thank you so much, Dom, for joining us.
Thank you.
Paul, say goodbye to the people.
Toodaloo.
Dom, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.
Matt, say goodbye to the people.
Smell you later.
Alexandra.
Bye.
My name is Jake. On behalf of everybody here at Dungeons & Dragon Wagon, we will see you next quest.
It's Dragon Wagon.
She wouldn't have it. I tried. I was hitting on her all the whole time, and she wasn't having it.
Yeah, but you killed her lover.
Oh, whatever. You kill one person's lover, and it's like all of a sudden that door is closed.
And I have to do the math for it.
This is the math song. Do 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 do. This is the math song. Do 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 do. This
Add
is the math song. Do 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 do.
Multiply it.
Do 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 do. This is the math song. Do 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 do. It's the math
Exponents.
song. Do 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 do. It's the math song. Do 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 do. Where's
Quadratic.
Wendy from the Wonder Years? Knowing math stuff.
And